Laser sights increase confidence regardless of experience level, whether you're learning the fundamentals or overcoming aging eyes. Crimson Trace, making laser sights standard equipment. Visit crimsontrace.com to find a dealer near you.
Today on Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, when seconds count, police are still minutes away, is a theme in today's guest Chris Bird's new book, plus a lesson on legal protection and more. Call in now at Tom Talk Gun. That's 866-825-5486. Now, here's Tom.
All righty, settle in. Strap in. We're going to be having some fun talking about guns for the next several hours. I'm Tom Gresham, your host. Yes, the show is Gun Talk. We're going to be talking about guns and shooting and everything from recreational shooting, sports shooting, hunting, to self-defense with guns. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the politics of guns. There's a lot going on there we need to cover. Some efforts, actually continuing efforts by the Obama administration to regulate as opposed to legislate away your rights. For those who say, oh, he can't do anything, Congress will never pass that. Yeah, all he has to do is have an agency redefine a definition or offer a, quote-unquote, clarification on something, and all of a sudden, gunsmiths go away. Or gunpowder becomes more expensive and harder to get. And no law was ever passed. We'll be talking about that. We'll also talk with the United States House of Representatives Majority Whip, who is spearheading an effort to push back on some of this restrictions by regulation as opposed to legislation. We'll be talking with Steve Scalise in a couple of hours. But first, by the way, if you want to join us here, it's very easy. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. 866-TALK-GUN. Of course, we're always... Well, we're doing all kinds of fun stuff. We have our Gun Venture show. The First Person Offender is actually going to be on tomorrow night on the Sportsman Channel. First Person Offender, of course, where we take regular people, deck them out in protective gear, suit them up with simunitions, and then they get attacked in some form or fashion. And then we find out, and they find out what they're going to do. A lot of times they think they know what they're going to do. And the truth of it is, a lack of or not enough training shows through every time. People who think, oh, yeah, I've been shooting all my life. Yeah, right. Sorry, not impressed. And then when it's all over, it's interesting. After it's done, they all say, wow, I really have to get more training. Or in some cases, they say, I really need to get some training. Yes, you do. Because that's what it's really all about. It's really, we love to talk about the guns and the ammo and the equipment and the gear and all that, but that's not really what it's all about. It's really about the training and your abilities and your competence. And joining me to talk about that and what's going on in that world is a friend of ours here on Gun Talk, an author of a number of books, including Thank God I Had a Gun and the Concealed Handgun Manual, Chris Bird. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hi, Tom. I'm great, and it's a pleasure, as always, to be with you.
Absolutely. Now, you are still ensconced in the great state of Texas, I gather.
That's correct.
Oh, not a bad place to be when you're a gun guy.
Well, I got here as soon as I could. I had to find a Texan to marry me, but that was 30 years ago, and we're still here.
There you go. All right, your brand new book, Surviving a Mass Killer Rampage. Subtitle is When Seconds Count, Police Are Still Minutes Away. I note that it came out on August 1, which was an anniversary, a historical date that we should make note of, correct?
I would think so. Yeah, it was the 50th anniversary of the shooting in the tower at the University of Texas in Austin. That was 50 years ago on August the 1st.
What is the main thing that people don't know about that? I think I know, but the public doesn't really know, and no one really talks about much with that shooting 50 years ago.
Well, one of the things that happened immediately afterwards was nobody wanted to talk about it. I think the police chief at the time was under a lot of criticism. According to Ray Martinez, who's the only survivor of the gunfight up on the tower observation ledge, and he said that very little study was done of the incident. He claims that the civilians who used their hunting rifles kept the head of the shooter down and made it much more difficult for him to shoot and kill people. His furthest shot was about 500 yards, and once people started shooting back, he was forced to use the drain spouts on that deck. There's 3 on each side to shoot through, and that restricted his field of fire greatly. But
so regular people actually ended up getting out their hunting rifles and shooting back at this guy.
Yeah, they were, and in those days, you'd see a pickup would have a rack with a rifle, a shotgun, something like that in the back. You don't see that much anymore. I guess they're too tempting a target for theft.
Right, but that doesn't mean there's not a gun in there. And I guess the takeaway is 50 years ago, this famous active killer scenario, good guys with guns, that is citizens, non-law enforcement citizens, acted to keep his head down, and then one of them actually went up in the tower with the police officer, right?
That's true, yeah. Alan Crum died in the early 90s, but he'd had Air Force training. I think he was a tail gunner on a bomber. And Ray, who was an Austin police officer at the time, didn't know that he wasn't a police officer until they were walking up the stairs to the final floor of the tower, when Alan said, "I guess you'd better deputize me." and Ray said, "Consider yourself deputized."
Done deal. Let's go get this bad guy.
Right, indeed.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so you write this new book, Surviving a Mass Killer Rampage. And, of course, we know that mass shootings are not as numerous as a lot of people think they are, according to the FBI, but they are very, very much in the news. And now that, I don't know what the number is now, 12, 13 million of us are licensed to carry guns, and in a lot of states you don't even need a permit to carry a gun. The question becomes, what do we know and what can we learn if somebody does come in and wants to kill people? Are there some critical takeaways that in the research of this book that you came up with?
Yes, I think so. The biggest takeaway is we really have to eliminate these so-called gun-free zones. In the same way in the military, friendly fire isn't, gun-free zones aren't. They're just free of law-abiding citizens with the means to protect themselves. So, and almost all of these mass shootings take place in these so-called gun-free zones, whether it's a college campus, a school, a mall. The only major one that I know of that happened in a zone where people could be armed, law-abiding citizens, was the Tucson shooting in Arizona, where Gabby Giffords was wounded and a federal judge was killed and several other people were killed. There was actually a guy there who ran to the shooting, had a gun. By the time he got there, some other civilians had got this guy down, and he helped to hold him down until the first deputy arrived, and he never even drew the gun, which I thought showed very good sense.
Okay, so we have a number of these scenarios out there. One of the things that we hear, that you hear, from those who say, well, you people with guns, there's nothing you can do in one of these situations. I mean, it's not as if, your supposed good guy with a gun can actually do something about a mass killer, a mass shooter. What does your research tell us, Chris?
Well, two things. One was that after Sandy Hook, which was really horrendous, it got a lot of people's attention because 20 children were killed, aged 6 and 7. And people started to figure, well, the police arrived too late, and this is going to happen again, so why don't we try something different, like let's arm the teachers, those teachers that want to be armed. And I've attended a couple of, actually 3 courses at Tactical Defense Institute in Ohio, where teachers were being trained and civilians were being trained in how to respond if you're in a mass killer confrontation, either if you're actually in it or if you hear it happening. And I've also got another chapter on if you were unarmed, because most people are going to be in that situation, unfortunately, until we can get these laws changed. There's a program called ALICE. ALICE stands for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate, not necessarily in that order. And it teaches people how to throw things at the shooter. We did some experiments with that, and bad guy with a blue practice gun. As soon as you start throwing things at him, particularly at his head, his hands go up to protect himself, and the gun points at the ceiling. And then,
hey, Chris, hold on to that thought for a second. Chris, hold on a second. I got to take a quick break here. We're talking with Chris Bird. He is the author of Surviving a Mass Killer Rampage. We'll be right back with more gun talk.
After a long workday, you need a break when you get home. That's when it's trigger time. With quality adult air guns that are powerful, accurate, and quiet, and cost just pennies to shoot. We are Pyramid Air. We know air guns. Let our experts with more than 150 years of combined air gun experience help find the right air gun for you. Get your trigger time, anytime, for less. PyramidAir.com.
The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently. When it comes to personal protection, nothing beats a Bodyguard. Choose the lightweight, compact, and concealable Bodyguard 380 pistol or the Bodyguard 38 revolver, both with a built-in laser sight. The Smith & Wesson Bodyguards. Carry more comfortably, walk more confidently.
You like free stuff, right? You like good deals, and you want more guns, ammo, and accessories. So, get all of that with the free smartphone app, Gun Dealio. With Gun Dealio on your phone, you'll get special offers and deals when you walk into a gun store. Plus, check it anytime for hundreds of deals and offers. Who wouldn't want that? Gun Dealio at the App Store and Google Play. GunDealio.com.
Behind every revolution is a patriot. Just as this great country was founded on the ideals of many, the new Mossberg Patriot is the sum of all that came before it. Reliable, timeless, built to last. The classic American hunting rifle with a heritage forged over generations has come home. Mossberg, built rugged, proudly American.
Responsible owners control access to their firearms, even when they may need them in a hurry. Liberty Safe, the nation's leader in gun safes, offers 6 models of handgun vaults. Strong, simple to use, open with a key or fingerprint. Put your handgun in the compact vault, lock it away until you need it. Then it's in your hand almost instantly. Pick the Liberty Safe handgun vault that's right for you. LibertySafeHD.com.
All right, we're back with you. Tom Gresham here. We're talking with Chris Bird. He's the author of a new book, Surviving a Mass Killer Rampage. Subtitle is When Seconds Count, Police Are Still Minutes Away. It is a study of a number of these mass killer or active killer scenarios and what went right, what went wrong. And you know how I'm always talking about you got to train, and you can't imagine these things. You've got to study these things. And while sitting and reading this book put you in the middle of these situations, and you can start going, okay, they did that and that worked, or they did that and that didn't work, or they didn't do anything and that certainly didn't work. But rather than trying to come up with your own plan in the middle of a terrible situation, reading this book, I think, will help you get there. And Chris, the book is available, I take it, on Amazon and other places right now?
Yes, you can get it. You may have to order it from your local bookstore. You can get it from Amazon, or if you want a copy that's signed by me, either for a gift for somebody like a Christmas present or something, then they can call my toll-free number, which is 888-700-4333.
Okay, so you will personally deface the book for them.
I will, yes, indeed. I'll scribble all over it.
There you go. All right, I got to ask you. I'm flipping around. I was looking at it thinking, man, I hope he got to this thing. And sure enough, it's right there. The radical Islamic attacks. And one of the things we keep getting from the gun ban groups is, well, there's nothing you could do about that. That's just Walter Mitty, pie in the sky, your imagination. There's nothing you could do. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. As I read the description of the San Bernardino attack, thinking, and then, of course, the one in Texas where a police officer with a pistol takes on two guys with a rifle and kills them, and you're going, it looks to me like that would be a pretty effective means of defense if you knew what you were doing. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. You were talking at the beginning of the program about the necessity not just to buy the equipment, but to get training, and I can't emphasize that enough. If you're going to be in that sort of a situation, read the book, but also make sure that you've got some training in maybe taking 50-foot shots at a head. Mm-hmm. Because if you're dealing with terrorists who may have a bomb vest on, then you really don't want to hit them in the bomb vest, or you may explode the bomb. So there are occasions where you're going to have to make headshots for that sort of thing. You need to practice. You need to know what to do, and there are quite a few places that now teach responses to that sort of thing.
It's the kind of thing where you need to have practiced. How do I move with a lot of other people in the way? And it's very likely you're going to need to advance toward the threat if you've chosen that that's what you're going to do. So how do I do that? How do I make sure I don't hit a good guy in the middle of shooting at the bad guy? And people say, well, you end up shooting all the good people. Well, actually, I don't really know of any accounts where that's happened, and the good guys have shot the bad guys. I mean, look at, was it Appalachian School of Law? We had the good guys stop a school shooting there. Was it Pearl, Mississippi? We had the assistant principal stopped a shooting there. It happens over and over again, but the media doesn't report on it much.
Right. If a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun, you will find very little national newspaper coverage or media coverage of any sort. Mm-hmm. I'm afraid it's beyond a question of debate that the mainstream media, so-called, is basically anti-gun. Most of the people who report on for the major outlets live in places like New York, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., where it's almost impossible for an ordinary person to get a handgun license, despite the Supreme Court decisions in Heller and McDonald. Right.
Exactly.
It's you don't get a fair shake, and don't expect one.
And we know that there will be more attacks. We know that ISIS, whatever the group of the day is, plans more attacks. We know they're coming. And they pop up anywhere. It can be in a big city or no town USA. And for those who say, well, it probably wouldn't happen here or it's not going to happen here, it happens everywhere. And whether or not it's ISIS or just a Looney Tunes person who pops up out of nowhere, you have moments to take care of this because, as you say, the police will be there and they're going to do all they can, but it's a 5-minute response, and meanwhile, people are dying.
That's correct, and one of the things that one of the tips I would give anybody who is involved in a shooting like that, and if they're successful, you have the bad guy down. Maybe you're still covering him. You've got your gun out. What do you do when the police arrive? Well, one of the things that we were taught at Tactical Defense Institute was get a responsible person, whether it's a student or a teacher or just somebody who happens to be there, get them to go and stand between you and where you think that the police are going to arrive. Stand there with their hands up and have them tell the first police officer, we have a shooter down, we have a good guy covering him, this is what he's wearing, this is what he looks like, don't shoot him. And
well, exactly, but I got to tell you, Chris, at the same time, I'm not going to depend upon that. I don't want to be holding a gun because this could be the rookie cop that got out of the academy 6 weeks ago, and he or she is scared to death when they come in, and we've seen that unfortunately happen before. All right, it's Chris Bird's latest book. I would recommend his other books, too. Thank God I Had a Gun and the Concealed Handgun Manual, both of them excellent. Chris Bird, B-I-R-D. This one is titled Surviving a Mass Killer Rampage When Seconds Count, Police Are Still Minutes Away. This one will help you recalibrate your thinking. I think you will enjoy the writing, and you will learn a ton in that. All right, open lines for you right now. 866-TALK-GUN will get you in there. Looking for your range reports? What guns are you shooting? And are you doing anything in particular to get ready for the hunting season, which, oh yeah, it's here right now.
Sign up for our Gun Talk newsletter and join the Truth Squad at www.guntalk.com. Now, back to Gun Talk with Washington Times opinion page regular contributor Tom Gresham.
All right, we're back with you. Tom Gresham here. 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. 866. I'll tell you what, easier if you just do it this way. Just dial 1 and then Tom Talk Gun. That certainly will get you in there. Tom Talk Gun. By the way, if you have Gun Dealio, and you should, on your smartphone, if you have it on an iPhone, uninstall it, reinstall it. That way you get the latest build. If you have the Android, you can just do the latest download to go to the, it's not App Store on Android. Oh, yeah, Google Play, I think it is. Anyway, you can do the update on that. 866-TALK-GUN. Line 3, Tim's with us out of Carson City. Tim, good question. Lay it on me.
Well, here's the thing. I've been inspired by looking at the Don Shipley's website, or the YouTube channel, rather, on phony SEALs of the Week, where he's a retired Navy SEAL, and you got all these guys out there. He gets 15 calls a day of these phony guys with phony credentials, and he calls them out. And so the question translates back into the gun training issue, that there are a lot of people, I think, that might also do similar things in terms of having credentials that aren't legit. And what I wonder is if there's a way, and I don't really know how best to do it, to determine whether or not you have a real, the instruction that you're receiving is quality, legitimate instruction, and not some fantasy stuff from some guys cooking up from a movie. And I'm talking I'm not including the courses like Gunsight or Thunder Ranch. I'm talking about if you hire somebody locally, to go out.
I mean, all right. Let me rephrase the question. The basic question is, how do you know the qualifications of your trainer? And we're not talking about basic training. I mean, and look, yes, I took a knock at NRA certification a few weeks ago, but you get good basic training from that, but I don't think it's enough. And I guess that was the point I was trying to make. If you want to be teaching self-defense with a gun, here's what I would do, Tim. I would want to know, first of all, can they teach? Apart from what their background is and everything else, ultimately what they're doing is they're teachers. Can they teach? I would want the names of some other people who had gone to their classes so I could call. Let's get some references. Give me the names of half a dozen people who've gone to your class. If you won't do that, then I'm suspect and I'm suspicious. I'm going, okay. Not that that's disqualifying completely. I would want to know what's their background. Sure, the military background. But then beyond that, this is going to sound weird, maybe. Where else have you trained? Not where have you taught, but where have you gone to get training? Have you, the instructor, gone to Gunsight, Thunder Ranch, SIG Academy, wherever? Tell me where you go to get your training. Because if they tell me I don't go get training, then that's a problem, I think. Obviously, they have to be certified, and I would think NRA certification would be one of the ways to go. What do they do about safety? And that's where I would be asking other students who've been to this trainer, did you feel safe at all times? Were there any times when you felt uneasy or unsafe? Because that should never happen. That should never happen. Okay. But it's an excellent point, because I get people who say, this place is great. I go, really? Have you been to any other places? Well, no. Well, probably the first place you go to, it's going to blow your socks off and you're going to go, wow, this is cool, but you don't have any basis for comparison. So I often say you need to go to a number of different trainers, go to different schools, get as much exposure to. There's another thing here. What's the style of the instructor, of the trainer? I personally would not respond well to a drill instructor type of training. Probably it's my strong anti-authoritarian bent. So probably I wouldn't make it till about 10 o'clock in the morning if the class starts at 8. If I'm being yelled at, because, hey, by the way, I'm the one who's paying for this. I'm not paying to be abused. Some people like it. It's worth asking. How does it work? What's your style? Or again, asking other students, what's the style? How did it go? But yeah, that's what I would do. I would call and just ask questions. I mean, and whether there's a seal or not, I don't really care. I mean, now if he's lying about it, I care about that. But somebody does not have to be SEAL, Special Forces, Secret Squirrel, or anything like that to be a good instructor. They just have to know what they're doing, and they have to be conscientious. Oh yeah, they have to be safe. Absolutely. Line 2, Rob's with us out of Shreveport, Louisiana. Hey, Rob.
How you doing? Listen,
Hey.
I called you. Are you aware of the ATF ruling reference nitrocellulose that just came out?
Well, I am, but are you aware that they just announced they're going to delay this ruling?
No, I wasn't. I'm glad you told me that.
Yeah, basically, here's what happened. A while back this summer, the ATF decided they would change the regulation on nitrocellulose, which it's a little bit esoteric, but what it really means is it would make ammunition more expensive. It would make producing propellant, i.e. gunpowder, but really it's propellant we use in our cartridges, more expensive. And now they have backed off on that, mainly because of social media. We all raised a big stink. In fact, I'm glad you asked, Robin. Thank you for the call. A little bit later on today, I'll actually be talking with Louisiana representative, the House Representatives, Steve Scalise. He is the, House Majority Whip. He's number 3 in line in the House. And he is ramrodding, spearheading both the effort on this and also on this knuckleheaded deal where they're saying that gunsmiths have to be licensed as gun makers, as gun manufacturers. We're going to find out what they're doing, but more importantly, what you individually need to be doing, because I suspect that what they actually need is for a bunch of us to be involved and to be working on this. We'll have more about that. Hey, Mike, don't go far. I got Marcus, I got Mike, and I got room for you right now if you want to call us, 866-TALK-GUN. I'm Tom Gresham. This is Gun Talk.
You spent the entire morning in a blind, waiting for your shot. Then, missed it and spooked all the big game for miles. Every hunter dreams about the one that got away, and at SilencerShop.com, we make dreams come true. Shooting suppressed means there's no big bang, no violent recoil, and no watching your prize get away because you couldn't get off a follow-up shot. Want a trophy mount on your wall? Put a can on your rifle from SilencerShop.com. Making the world a quieter place.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit SigSauer.com today.
Hi, this is Tom Gresham from Gun Talk. America is losing critical wildlife habitat at a rate of 1 football field every hour. It's happening on the Louisiana coast, but it's critical to all sportsmen and conservationists. These precious wetlands provide winter habitat for more than 10 million ducks and geese annually, waterfowl that migrate north through dozens of states. Don't shrug it off. Get involved. You can help. Visit vanishingparadise.org.
The Ruger LCRX is a variation of the LCR that features an external hammer, allowing it to be fired in single-action mode. The LCRX can also be fired in double-action mode. It features a monolithic frame made from aerospace-grade 7000 series aluminum, a patented Ruger friction-reducing cam that results in a smooth, non-stacking trigger pull, and a patent-pending polymer fire control housing that significantly reduces weight and helps reduce recoil. The Ruger LCRX Revolver, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
All right, back with you. Going on line 4. Mike's with us out of Brenham, Texas. Hey, Mike, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, great conversation today. I wanted to second the notion of training makes a difference in terms of I'm actually using local competitions for training. And it doesn't matter what style, USPSA, IDPDA, GSSF, but just getting out and getting in front of targets where I have to move and shoot, where some of them are partially covered up, where every once in a while I have to take headshots. I'm seeing an improvement in my skills just from repetitively going to these competitions. And more importantly, not everybody there is a competitor. In other words, I don't feel outclassed by people with race guns or major skills. It's really welcoming to new shooters, and it's a great way to get started doing something more than punching holes in paper.
For those who don't know, Mike, let me explain that there are competitions, pistol competitions specifically, although there's 3-gun available where you can do shotguns and rifles, but where you're moving and shooting, and they're essentially were originally designed to replicate as much as possible self-defense shooting. Now, to some extent, they become games, and frankly, some of the rules they have, maybe for safety, I don't know, are things that you would not do. You actually can get penalized in a competition for doing something that would make a lot of sense in a self-defense situation, i.e. dropping a magazine that still has ammo in it. That might be a really smart thing to do in real life, but you get penalized for that. But as long as you know where those areas are, there's a lot of value in this. How long have you been doing this?
About a year now.
Okay.
Matter of fact, I'm just coming from a major match today out in Belleville. There was just a major two-day match, but it can be something as simple as I think I don't know if I can say the name on the air. There's a range in Houston that does a Thursday night match that lasts about an hour and a half. Yeah. Shiloh, up off 1960. Okay. Does Thursday night matches. And like I said, new folks are welcome. You know, nobody's gonna disqualify you. Safety is certainly the number one priority. But it's a way to find out, can I, if I'm having to take a couple steps, you know, what happens to my sight? You know, what happens on my draw, and figure out what's the next class I need to go to? What do I need to train on?
You know, Mike, you glossed over what I think may be the most important thing you said. New folks are welcome. You can quite literally go out there and show up with whatever gun you have, or even with no gun, and say, look, I have no idea what this is all about, but I'd kind of like to try it. And there will be people who say, hey, come on over here. Look, here's a rig, here's a holster, here's a pistol. Let's just get you started. And they'll help you out, won't they?
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen guys show up with, the $199 Taurus PT-111 and have shot through competitions. It's all about, you're a shooter, you're wanting to get better. Let's show you how to get started. And you're not going to be the fastest guy, and you're not going to be the most accurate the first time, but you'll know, where do I need to focus, for the next time out.
And you can compete on a couple of different levels. You can compete to beat other people, to be the best, or you can compete with yourself to say, I'm going to improve my times, have better gun handling skills. I'm not going to worry where I place in the ranking. I'm just going to try to get better. And that's a form of competition and training also.
Absolutely. And there's all kinds of different rankings and positions and everything else. But like you said, it's kind of like golf, where can I improve my personal handicap? And for me, what I've learned this weekend is I just need to work on consistency. When I go too fast, I'm less accurate. When I'm working on accurate, I'm not as fast. And so it's finding and moving that needle in terms of consistency is going to make the difference for me.
That's it. Great call. Appreciate it, Mike. Yeah, and if you do that, balance it off with going and getting real training with a self-defense instructor so you can say, okay, this is what I do in competition. I learned to shoot fast. I learned to shoot accurately, and I learned to shoot while I'm moving. Now I'm going to combine that with the tactical skills that you don't necessarily use in competition, and you combine those two. It's a pretty good combo. It really is. Let's go to line one. Marcus is with us out of Toledo, Ohio, with a range report. Hey, Marcus, what you been using?
Hey, Tom, I took your recommendation a few shows back. You had a guy from gunbelts.com, which I can't remember his name offhand, but I took your advice, bought a couple gun belts, actually from Alien Gear, and bought a new holster with it. Been wearing about 6 weeks now with a Car PM9. And man, what a difference. It really holds it in place. It's like I can't even tell I'm wearing it and can't ever go back. So I took that advice, and it was definitely worth the money. And
what were you doing? What were you doing before? Place, so. What kind of belt were you using before?
Oh, something I bought from the department store. It was like a reversible one, brown on one side, black on the other, and it just kind of falls apart. And I found myself keep pulling it up on my right hip until, and I didn't even realize I was doing it until I got a gun belt with that stainless steel band in the middle, and now I don't do that.
Now, that's interesting. You were actually touching your gun and pulling it up and goofing around with it before because your belt wouldn't hold it in place. And so you get a good belt, the gunbelts.com from Alien Gear, guys, and you get a good belt that holds your gun in place. Number one, it's more comfortable. But number two, and probably really should be number one, it's more secure so that it's where your gun is where you left it on your belt. And no longer are you monkeying with it, pulling it up, tucking it in, touching it, and doing that because it's moving around. Great range report, Marcus. Thank you so much. I keep saying, people say, it's just a belt. No, it's not just a belt. It's a system. It's a belt, it's a holster, it's a gun. They all have to be good. And a lousy belt, that's the foundation for everything. The belt is the foundation you build everything on. If it is not sturdy, and let me just say this, it's very unlikely you can get a good enough belt for holding a gun at a department store. It's just really unlikely. Yes, they have thick belts. Yes, they have wide belts, but probably none of them will do what they're supposed to do. You need a gun belt. So the ones from Alien Gear work great. There are a number of outfits that have really good gun belts, but you need a gun belt. I have probably 6 gun belts. I have the fabric, canvas, it's not exactly the word, web belts, but it needs to be reinforced. Sometimes I wear those. I have leather belts of various types, of brown ones, black ones, a little bit wider, a little bit narrower, depending on the pants I'm wearing. Like everything else, you got to match it to the wardrobe, make it work for you. But I will tell you, just like Marcus's report, once you start using a good gun belt, one made to be a gun belt, it'll change your world. You go, how did I ever not do this before? It's really worthwhile. All right, let's go straight to the phones. Line 2, Steve's with us out of Texas. Steve, range report for us. What are you shooting, Steve?
Yeah, Tom.
Yes,
Can you hear me?
I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Listen, just before that range report, I just want to make a quick comment on the gun manufacturer requirement.
Right.
This has the potential to backfire on the other side big time. All they'll be doing is training thousands of new gun manufacturers. Gee, that wouldn't be such a bad thing, would it? So,
except that a lot of gunsmiths will get out of the business. It won't work that way. The gunsmiths will just say, I'm not going to pay $2,200 a year just because I checker a gun. That's nuts. I'll just get out of the business, because it's a marginal business as it is with most gunsmiths. But look, let me just say this. If you are a gunsmith, do not pay any attention to this right now. Don't do anything. Don't register. Don't fill out any applications. Don't do anything. We're going to get it turned back. And in about an hour, we're going to be talking with a member of Congress who's going to tell us how we're going to do it. All right, Steve, so tell me about your range report.
Yeah, you were talking the other day about what are we doing when we're now seeing some pretty horrendous attacks from jihadists. So I put my 45 away, and I'm now packing my 10 millimeter, and I'm shooting out at about 30 yards at the range, and I'm getting pretty tight groups with it too. So, yeah, we're adjusting with the times. That's basically what it comes down to.
What pistol? Which 10 millimeter are you carrying?
I'm carrying the Rock Island Arms in the 1911. Yeah, I wanted that GT20, but my I'm able to put the kibosh on it.
That's okay. The Rock Island's it's a good pistol. It's a 1911. Do you have the? Is that a 5-inch or is that a 6-inch barrel? I can't remember.
I got the 6-inch.
You got the 6-inch. That's pretty sweet. Now that's a big gun. No problem carrying that one.
Well, everything's a trade-off. They made that gun actually a little heavier to help deal with the recoil. And if I have to go walking around a lot, it hurts my hip, so then I carry the 45. But as long as I'm not going to be doing a lot of walking, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
And like when I'm if I'm sitting in church and someone kicks in the door, I'm ready.
So you're practicing at distances out to 30, did you say 30 feet or 30 yards?
Yeah. 30 yards.
Cool. All right. Jim just said, talk about needing a good gun belt. When you got, the more weight you carry, the more you need a really stiff gun belt. It will really help carry the weight of that gun. Now, how many extra magazines are you carrying?
I'm not carrying any yet because it only came with one mag, and I just started carrying it. I'm going to get 3 of the 9-round McCormick's is what I'm going to start carrying. One in the gun.
Let me tell you, money spent on good magazines is money well spent. Cheap magazines are worse. Actually, just awful. But McCormick, really good stuff. Wilson Combat, really good magazines. Can't go wrong there. And yeah, they're expensive. Everybody always says, oh man, they're expensive. I said, well, do you want them to work? And if you've got to go, here's the thing, Steve. If you have to go to a second magazine, you're probably having a really bad day. Things have not gone well for you at this point, so you really want it to work. Steve, thank you for that range report. 10 millimeter. If you can handle it, and that's the real thing, if you can shoot it well, excellent. If you can't, drop down to a 45. If that bothers you, drop down to a 9 until you can shoot it well. All right, here's a question for you. Have you really thought through what it means to carry a gun and have one for self-defense? Have you thought through what happens on the other side of it? When we come back, we're going to talk to a guy who got himself into a bunch of trouble, legal trouble, when he got involved in an altercation, announced that he had a gun. Before you know it, he's getting pulled over by the police. He's arrested. He's charged. The story of what happened and how he got out of it and what you can learn from it, you definitely do not want to miss this. We'll be right back with more Gun Talk.